Hello Sunshine Squad, and welcome to another video. Today I want to give a shout out to Vevor for sending me out this propane fryer to review. Charlene and I were going to do a fish fry one day, and we set up everything, and after we got everything set up, it started pouring down raining, and it like rained for the rest of the week, so we never got around to it. I am going to do a full review on this product in the future, but I just wanted to go ahead and include this in today's video and give a big shout out to Vevor for sending me out this propane fryer. It was very well packed, you guys, and easy to assemble. We actually didn't get a chance to use it because it started raining and we took the fish fry in the house. But I want to thank Vevor for sending. If you guys are interested in this product, click the link in the description box below. And Vevor have a lot of products for your daily needs. So make sure you check out their website, vevor.com. So today, you guys, I'm going to show you how I did my epoxy countertops in my van. So I'm going to start with 3/4 inch ply, and at the seams that join up together, we have a gap. So I'm going to be using some Bondo to put those gaps together. I did screw a piece of wood underneath the bottom so the Bondo will not go through the bottom. And so everywhere I have a seam meeting and a screw, we put the Bondo, and then we're gonna sand that down really well and flush. So that is part two. Part two, you're gonna get your countertop down, and then you're gonna put the Bondo, and then after that you're gonna put your you want to put your top coat on top of that afterwards, or your undercoat. I think they call it undercoat. You want to put that on there first, but you want to make sure you cover up all the seams and the screw heads. And I think it's better to get a metal trowel than the plastic trowel that I had. You want to work with this pretty fast, you guys, because it does dry pretty fast. Don't mix up a lot of it at once because it is going to get hard on you and you won't have time to work with it. So you want to mix up a little bit at a time. Work with it, smooth it out as smooth as you can get. And then after you sand that, then you want to go with your underlayment coat. So I did go with a white because whatever your base coats are going to be, then you want to go with that color. If you're going to be having a darker epoxy pour, then you might want to go with the black, but I thought we were going to have a lighter pour. And also make sure you paint the edges. I did not paint the edges on this, and I made a mistake in not doing that. So learn from my mistake and make sure you paint the edges. So now we have the epoxy. We have a part A and a part B, and you want to mix equal parts of what you're using. Make sure you read the instructions. So we're pouring everything in one container, and once we get it to the level, because these containers have measurements on it, once we get it to the level that we want it at, then we're going to go ahead and mix everything up with the drill for 2 minutes. And in between you mixing it up, you want to make sure you take a stick and scrape the bottom and the sides to make sure you're getting everything mixed in properly. If you do not mix this in properly, it is not going to get hard on you, and your epoxy is not going to cure properly. So you want to make sure that you're mixing everything up really well. As you can see, Miss Pauline is doing the mixing for me because I have an injury to my thumb and I needed assistance. So thank you, Vanna White. And so we moved it over to the other side so that I can stir it with the stick and make sure I stir the bottom and the sides and get everything mixed up really well. And then after that, we're going to go back in again with the mixer and mix everything up. Now here we have cups where we're going to mix our individual colors. I did make a mistake on this. I didn't order any of the powder color or the pigmented colors from Stone Coating, so we had to use spray paint. I just want to let you know that it would be easier if you purchase the colors to mix in, whether it's the liquid colors that you pour in or if it's the powdered colors. If you're going to end up using some spray paint, make sure that you do it outside or in a ventilated area. We did have the side door open, but we had the back door closed so bugs and dust wouldn't get in. And the epoxy got hot really fast. Depending on what area you're in, you guys, make sure you are paying attention and you know like how much time you have to work with. They say that you have a lot of time to work with this epoxy, but unfortunately, if you're in an area where it's hot, believe me, that time is cut in half. Our epoxy ended up hardening on us and we didn't even get a chance to use it all. I wish that I would have done a dirty pour with this, where we mixed all the colors into one bucket and then just poured it out on the counter. I think that would have been better for the area that I had to cover, and also the heat and the temperature that was in the van. It would have been better to do a dirty pour because I did not have enough time to work with this like I thought I was. And this was my first time doing this, you guys. I am an amateur. Even though it came out all right, you guys, it did not come out perfect. So what we're doing right now is layering our, I would call it a wash. We're laying our wash down, and that is going to be white and some gray. So we're going to have that looking like a marble effect. If you look on the back of the tile and you see the gray and the gray and the white mixed together, we're trying to do like a marble effect as our wash coat. So that's what I'm doing here. And also another tip, you guys, make sure you do cover the back of your wall, especially if you have your tile up. Even though you may think you're not going to get anything on the wall, just take the precautionary measures and make sure you prep everything properly, because I did end up getting some epoxy on the wall. In some areas, I got it off. Some areas I didn't even try yet. So I don't know if it's going to come off or not. So I just want to let you guys know to prep properly and make sure you do everything. When you watch videos like this and they give you tips, make sure you do everything that they tell you to do. It's for a reason, okay? Don't take shortcuts. So now what I'm doing, this is called hand milling, and I'm just combining the two colors together. This is not going to be my design. Like I say, this is my wash coat. So I'm going to mill the two colors together, and I want to make sure that I'm covering every inch of the countertop. You want to make sure you get this everywhere. So you want to make sure that you do mix up enough of this to begin with. I wish I would have mixed up more on here to cover the whole entire thing, because we did have some areas that did not get covered. Also, between the wall and the cabinet, you want to caulk that, because you want to make sure that that epoxy does not go behind the wall. That is another mistake that I made. I did not caulk between the wall and the countertop. And so I did have a lot of epoxy go behind the walls, and it made for a big mess, and I had a lot of sanding to do. So make sure that you do caulk between your wall and your epoxy, your wall and your countertop, before you lay your epoxy out. in my instance, I had to learn from my mistakes. So if I get to do this again, I know exactly what I need to do. If you, and right now what you see me with a little lighter, getting out the heat bump, the heat, getting out the bubbles. And usually they do this with a heat gun, with a propane torch, but the propane torch was not working for us, you guys. And as I showed you guys before, or told you guys before, I had forgot to paint the edges of the countertop white. So here I am trying to remedy that problem by spraying some spray paint on that. It was a quick fix, but it wasn't the way that it was supposed to be, you guys. So make sure you do it right. Now we're taking the color and putting it in here to try to give some veining and to make it look more marbleized. So, and right here is when I discovered that our epoxy was heating up really, really, really fast, and it wasn't giving me enough time to work with. As I said a minute ago, when you're doing something for the first time, you're going to learn from your mistakes. This was a learning curve, and if I have to do this over again, I am definitely going to take away some pointers and some tips for myself. And number one, the first tip that I would say is to make sure you prep very well. If you already have your backsplash up, make sure you cover that wall up. Number two, make sure that you do caulk between the wall and the countertop. And number three, make sure you paint all of your, when you put the undercoat on, make sure you paint your edges and everything. Number four, make sure you get the proper products. Try not to use the spray paint. For the gold, the spray paint is an excellent choice because it's going to give you that color, and that color is going to pop. But the color didn't get the definition. It wasn't giving what I wanted it to give. And make sure you watch. When you think you've watched enough videos, you guys, watch about 20 more, because believe it or not, you can't get enough information. And even the videos that you find very informative, watch those videos over and over again. Now, this little tool is supposed to help you spread the gold out, but when I did this, you could clearly see that my epoxy was already setting up, and I did not have time to even work with this at this point, and we just started. So we just started pouring the spray paint on. That's where everything went wrong, you guys. I just started pouring the spray paint on because I think I was like in panic mode, because the epoxy was already setting up. Little did I realize I could have just went more toward a painting method and taking my time, because the epoxy had already set up. So this was definitely a learning curve. So this is how it looks after we added the spray paint in there. I did not like how the gray and the gold was looking together. So I just took some spray paint, some black spray paint, and I just poured it in a cup and poured it on here. And that's how I got this look that made me say, okay, I might could live with this, because before then I was like, oh no, I'm going to do this over again. So I did add the black accents in there to be able to do it, to make it look better and just give it more depth. I think the black made it stand out more and give it more depth. So now what we need to do is we need to add the clear coat on the top of the epoxy. So that's what we did. We added the clear coat on top of the epoxy. And then after that, you're supposed to sand it down after letting it sit for about between 18 and 20 hours. you sand it down, and then you're going to add your top coat. Now, I end up getting the top coat in matte. I didn't get the top coat in the high gloss. What you're looking at now is the epoxy in its original state, high gloss. We did have a couple of areas that didn't fill in, so we had to go back, sand that down a little bit, and add some clear epoxy on top of that. Once you get all your holes and everything filled in, then you want to lightly sand that down again. And then you're going to go and do your top coat. Now, if you like the shine and you like the sheen, you want to get the gloss top coat. If you do not like the shine and you do not like the sheen, you want to get matte. I got the matte. I don't know if it was intentional or by accident, because the matte does come out as default. So I got the matte. But this is me coming back the next day, checking on this after it dried. And as you can see, it does have the high gloss on it, because this is just the top coat. This is just the top coat of the epoxy, you guys. So this actually has to be sanded down. This is when I recognized that I did have a few areas that didn't fill in. So we had to sand those areas down, add more epoxy to those areas. And then from there, you're going to pull your tape off. I should have pulled my tape off earlier, but you're going to pull your tape off, and then you're going to sand all the areas that need to be sanded. Sand underneath your countertop to make sure you don't have any rough edges before you seal this with the top coat. So here I am again the next day after we've done all of that, and I'm coming to check everything. And I think today I'm going to be adding the top coat. Sorry, you guys, I didn't show me sanding everything, but what you need to do is when you are ready to sand, I think this is the next day after we filled in all the gaps. Now again, I'm gonna have to sand this. You want to sand it lightly with 220 grit. You're not trying to sand it with like a 60 grit or anything like that. You just want to lightly sand it, so that way your top coat will bond to the epoxy countertop. So you're just lightly sanding it, and then you're going to go over it with some isopropyl alcohol, and then wipe everything down, and then mix your top coat epoxy so you can put that on. So now, you guys, after I've done all the prepping to the countertops, as you can see, the countertops are dull and they're not as shiny. So now what me and Miss Pauline are going to do, we're going to put the top coat on, and you're supposed to take your rollers and get any length off of them. And you need at least 3 rollers or more in order to do this, because you're going to saturate your first roller and roll everything on. Then you're going to go back over it again with a dry roller and roll everything on. And then you're going to go back over that with a dry roller for the finishing touch. So you need 3 rollers. If you have a bigger space, you're going to need multiple rollers, because you're going to want to change rollers in between them. And after you do the first roller with the saturation, you don't want your second rollers to be extremely wet. So you need to change your rollers in between to make sure you're getting and smoothing in all of the products. So right now we are just taking all of the lint off of the rollers, so you won't put that in your countertops. Okay, you guys, so right now, Pauline and I are getting ready to put on the top coat epoxy, and we have to measure it. It's 2 parts to 1 part. So we have to vigorously shake, part A, and Pauline is going to shake part B while I'm shaking part A. And I had a hard time taking this little protective seal off, so I'm going to put part A in here first. That's going to be the larger amount, and then I'm going to put part B up in there. And then you want to make sure you stir it very well, so it can get to the consistency that you need it to get to and protect your counters. And the next thing we're going to do is pour it in a pan, and we're going to roll it on. Now, the videos that I watched on this, they say the biggest mistake that people make is not putting enough of this. That's why you have 3 rollers, you guys, because you want to make sure that this is covering everything. And so you're going to put this on generously. And also you're going to roll in different directions. You're going to roll vertically with it, and then you can come back in vertically with your next roller, and then the other roller after that you can go horizontal. You're making sure you're getting any streaks out, and you want this to have a good finish. But when you first add this in, you want to make sure you're adding a lot of this product onto your finish piece, so you can get the coverage. And this is actually going to make your piece food safe as well. As I stated before, I end up getting the matte finish and not the gloss finish. So this is not going to be really, really, really shiny, but it's going to be durable, and it's going to protect your piece and make it food safe. So you want to make sure you're putting a good coverage amount on your piece, because like the guy said, the biggest mistake that people make is they do not add enough. So you want 3 rollers. You want 1 wet roller, and then after you apply the wet roller, then you go over it with a dry roller. And after you do that, then you go over it with another dry roller. I think this takes about 15 to 20 minutes to completely dry. As you can see, Miss Pauline is coming behind me with the dry roller. And after she goes over the whole thing with her dry roller, then we come back again with another dry roller. And it's good to have 2 people helping you, but in a small space like this with not that much counter, you probably can do it by yourself, you guys, because 2 people in a small space like this is not ideal. As you can see, I end up getting some of the epoxy on the wall because we were so tight up in there. So now I'm going around the back, and you want to make sure that you are getting your edges and underneath as well. This is going to protect the piece, it's going to seal the piece, and it's going to make it food safe as well, you guys. So basically, you're going to do that and go over everything with a dry brush. You see I'm going around the edges, and I'm going around the bottom of it. And then Pauline is going to come behind me, and she is going to go with her brush. And then after she do her brush, then we're going to go over it again with a dry brush. And from there, you let it sit, and it says it'll be dry in 15 to 20 minutes. But I'm going to let this dry overnight. So I hope this video was helpful. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to be notified each and every time I upload a new video. If you have any questions about this process, let me know in the comments. This was my first time doing it. It did not turn out perfect. It did not turn out the way that I wanted it to turn out, you guys. It did not turn out anything like my inspiration. But it was a learning curve, and I am happy with the results because I did my best. Stay tuned for future videos, and I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to do my countertop over again. If I do, I will do a more extensive video for you guys. So make sure you ask any questions that you have in this video so I could cover it in any other videos that I do in the future. And as you can see now, I'm going over it with the brush horizontally. Okay, I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye now.